Coming up now on Animal Outtakes, a source of inspiration. We go behind the scenes at the training grounds of the Gala of Royal Horses to witness these beautiful and courageous animals.
They come out with their big, powerful movements, and that it's always something magnificent.
And misunderstood mosquito-eating machines.
We have these bats here because we want people to see them. We want people to be aware of them, to know that these animals exist, and want to do something to help them and protect them.
We travel to the Lubee Bat Conservancy to find out what they're doing to save pollinators like these. Plus, we learn what rehabbers are doing to get these fawns back to the wild. This and much more straight ahead on Animal Outtakes. A celebration of tradition, athleticism, and grace. The Gala of the Royal Horses is a production created by a world-renowned riding master, a family that goes back 7 generations who travels the world, paying tribute with horses who are trained in maneuvers once used on the battlefield. The horses' courage and physical beauty are a source of inspiration for all to see. We visited their home in Ocala, Florida, where we got a behind-the-scenes look at their daily training sessions, along with a lesson in their storied history.
So I'm just tacking them up, getting all their tack ready so their heads are nicely in frame. Make sure all my tack is in the right spots so I don't fall off. All right, boys. Come on, Ellie. Gently. Come on. Alrighty, boys. Ready? Good. Come on, Ellie. These horses, they're not one-trick ponies either. So we do lots of different exercises to build the trust with them. Hop. Come on. For the horses, it sort of depends on their personality. So, luckily, I've got 2 pretty good boys, and they get along. But first we had to teach them to get along without the animosity, without their natural state of wanting to argue and fight for dominance. Then afterwards, it was just, as you can see, my horses aren't tethered together. So it was just teaching them to be a team. If they aren't a team, then I fall off. So it was just lots of miles, lots and lots and lots and lots of time of falling and them separating. And then eventually they realized, oh, okay, if we stay together, then everything goes smoothly, we get our cookie. Good boys. Good boys.
Renee, we are out here in this most heavenly place in Ocala, Florida.
Yes.
And you have some majestic horses. Why are they called the royal horses?
They're called the royal horses because the royal families actually are some of the heads of breeders of these horses. Like the Queen from Holland is the patron saint of the Frisian horse. The Prince from Spain is the patron saint of the Andalusian horse. And of course the Lipizzaner has been in the royal family for hundreds of years. And therefore we got the royal horses.
So those are the 3 mainly that you work with?
We've got Andalusians, Lipizzans, and Frisians. We also have Arabians, and we also got a quarter horse.
So why are these horses more adept at doing what you want them to do?
It's not necessarily those breeds, but they've been bred through the generations. So like a lot of the movements were used for warfare. So they used to use the horse they used to use in war, like the Frisian soldiers. I mean, the Frisian horse goes right back to the Crusades. They were used for the heavy armor, that's why they're such heavy horses. Lipizzans, of course, for their jumps, and the beautiful Andalusians for their movements.
His name is Marcus, and this is a garrocha pole. And what this was used for traditionally in Spain was to herd fighting bulls. Marcus is an Arabian, so this isn't typical for his breed, but like I said before, all of our horses are not just one-trick ponies. So we saw potential with him to do this. He's flighty and he likes to go fast, so this is right up his alley. We like to sort of choose the horses depending on what they like to do, depending on what kind of tricks they do. So Marcus likes to go fast, so this is his thing.
How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing it all my life. And my father, my grandfather, 7 generations.
There has to be a tremendous bond between you and the animals.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so how do you develop that bond? And moreover, how do you communicate with them?
You know, I think the bond is there. Either you've got it or you don't have it. You can't make somebody love a horse or love a dog. Or most people like them, but it's different when you work with them, you know, 7 days a week, nearly all your life. So you get that 7th sense with those animals, and they do it with you too. I can do some of the stuff without even touching my horses, not even talking. They know when I go to this side, they're going to lie down or something like that. The older horses, of course.
This is Mozart. He's our oldest horse in the show, and he was also my first horse. So when I was 2 years old, he was born outside of my bedroom window. To be able to communicate with these horses and really get them to trust us, we have to show them that we're not here to hurt them or that their job isn't here to be overworked. We don't want them to be like, oh, I have to go to work. We want them to have fun in what they do. So we use our riding crops not as a tool for punishment, it's more of an extension of our hand. So I can take this whip and put it wherever I want on him. I can do this on his noggin and rub him with it, and he's got no fear of it. Then the next things that we do with them is show them how the tool is used. So if I want him to move sideways and just move off of the whip, I just touch him gently and see how his back legs cross under. That's just me telling him, hey, move over. I just need you to move, but for some reason, I can't take you and move you with my hand, or I'm not sitting on top of you and I can't move you with my calf. So we just use this as an extension. Then the next thing that we teach them is that no matter what state they're in, if they're standing or laying down, they can trust us. So what I'll do is I'll ask him to lay down. Mozi, lay down. Lay down. There you go. And I can get on him and touch him all over and basically let him know that he's fine. And him rolling and having a scratch in the dirt just shows you that he's okay with me doing whatever I want with him. And that's how we build trust. It's just a slow progress of doing this all the time. I can take, thank you, he already knows to give me his leg. I can take my whole body and put him between his back legs, and he knows, okay, I don't have to kick her because she's not a threat. And I get over him. And he's also trained, so usually for this part of the show, I take him and I push him and be like, oh no, he can't get up, he's sleeping. So he knows he's gotta wait for his treat. Good boy. Okay, good boy. Sit. Good boy. Cookie?
When do you start training them?
We start 3 years old, maybe 2.5, but very light work because we don't want to ruin their bones. When they're too young, their joints are still a little bit open. So we just do easy stuff with them. And once they get stronger and older, we move them. It's like kids going to school.
Are there any enhancements that's given to the horses, perhaps other than supplements and vitamins and that type of thing, that would assist them in this performance?
We don't believe in that. A good diet and work. They have to learn, just like anybody. It's just like a dancer or gymnast. They have to work and learn this stuff. A lot of people think, oh, they're so big and strong and they can do this and that. No. Just like us. They have to go to the gym, they have to work out, and that's probably the only enhancement we can give them.
You travel all over the United States. In fact, you shared with me that you were in every state other than the state of Washington.
Yes.
What do the audiences come away with?
A lot of people, especially the ladies, they actually come after the show outside their tears. They watered up because they've been heard about it, but they've never seen them like that. So I think it gets to the people's heart a little bit.
Well, it's better than looking at a computer, isn't it?
Yes, and I think that's important, you know, that the kids these days, if they can't touch an animal, can't see it, can't feel the warmth, they've only ever seen it, how can they feel for it? How can they protect it? How they can look after it? And wouldn't it be a shame if we lose that tradition? That would be terrible.
Yes, it would.
Yes. So hopefully we can play a little part in that. Yes!
We are also excited to share that they are coming to the Suncoast. They will be at the Manatee County Fairgrounds on December 10th and 11th with full performances. You can get more information at galaoftheroyalhorses.com. Coming up next on Animal Outtakes, an up-close look at an old world bat. We take you to a place where you wouldn't believe the incredible work being done to save these animals all over the world. We'll be right back.
For 40 years, I'd been burying my emotions and all of the trauma.
I was grasping desperately for independence and hope. I found it with a tail and a cold nose.
I call him my battle buddy, because every time we're out in the public, he has my back.
Every time those demons start talking, he knows, and he's right there at my side. Mustang truly did save my life.
Our next stop in this week's show is Gainesville, Florida. It's where the Lubee Bat Conservancy is located, a nonprofit that's dedicated to saving bats and their habitats.
That's going to be our bat barn. But what we did is, this is an old animal building. It was the first animal building built here in Lubee in 1990. We were founded July 31st, 1989. So this is our education center. And it's a nice open air area. People can have picnics in here. We've had businesses in here. We've done yoga in here, paint. We just had painting this past weekend. But what we wanted to do is just highlight bats, highlight Lubee, some of the things we've done. And this area is one of my favorite. There's over 1,400 species of bats. And we wanted to show people that, hey, these animals exist out there. And this is what they look like. I mean, they're some of the most important mammals out there, but they have their place for us. I mean, they eat insects, they pollinate flowers, they disperse seeds. They matter. These are extremely important matters, and they're extremely important for the environments as well. A lot of environments depend on bats, and there's been studies done in Central and South America and Southeast Asia where it shows that the reforestation, because we always hear about the land being cleared, we always hear about deforestation. Some of the first plants that come up are bat dispersed seeds. In some areas, it's 90%. The first plants that come up only got there because bats are flying over those areas and dispersing the seeds. They're extremely important not only for humans and our economies and agriculture, but for rainforests. Rainforests need these bats. The world needs these bats. People need these bats. And I think we have such a unique opportunity. I mean, you can see the tigers and pandas and stuff like that, but when you have an opportunity to see animals like this that exists out there, I think it's important to be able to showcase them. These are the big boys. So these guys are Malayan flying foxes. These guys are from Southeast Asia. Now we do keep the sexes separated because we don't want them breeding all the time, but we do know the genetics on these bats. Whenever we do set up breeding groups, which we do have some babies here, we know which father, which male we can put with which group of females, so we maintain high genetic diversity when we do so. Here you go, buddy. So again, these guys are fruit bats, and this is a really good opportunity since he's kind of staying still. So this guy, this is Voodoo in the background. This is his wrist right here. This is his thumb, so they use their thumbs to hold on. And then you can see he's using his toes, and it looks like his knees bend backwards, but they don't. They're very similar, morphologically, I should say, to humans and primates, although they're actually more closely related to carnivores than they are to humans or rodents. So in the wild, these guys are considered near threatened. Okay. So their numbers have been plummeting due to deforestation, but really hunting. Overhunting in a lot of the cultures where these guys are found. You're good, he's behind you. They'll eat them. As you can see, there's not a lot of meat on them. So if you're going to make a meal out of them, you have to eat quite a few. And it's really just uncontrollable hunting. So a lot of the conservation programs that Lubee does, you have to work with the local communities. So we work with them to talk about maybe not hunt during maternity season, maybe set limits, maybe set quotas. You can't tell them not to hunt these animals. That's like them coming over here and saying you can't hunt deer, you can't hunt turkey, but you can work with the local communities and some of the other nonprofits over there to teach them about, why don't we try to set limits.
So once they finish getting all the juice and pulp out, they'll actually spit out what is left, and that is an actual example of how they transfer like seeds in the wild. It's like that spat comes out and new trees grow.
Your fruit bats, your flying foxes, your old world fruit bats, they live in trees. Not all bats live in caves and like dark areas. These type of bats need sunlight. And out of the 1,400 species of bats, about 200 of them are your old world fruit bats like this, and just about all of them roost out in the sun.
They are gentle giants. They're not these horrible creatures that have been marketed in movies and books and magazines and all that. These guys are just looking for some fruit. They are just wonderful, gentle creatures. I mean, they have their personalities. They'll argue with each other. They let you know if you're too close.
And people get to do this.
Yes.
They get to scratch the bats.
These are the bat scratchers.
Yeah.
It's very high tech, and it's patent pending, by the way.
That's right.
They're, as we say, they're sky puppies.
We are an Association of Zoos and Aquariums certified related facility. We provide them excellence in animal care and welfare. Our other two main purposes are conservation programs. As I mentioned, working from Florida all the way to Madagascar, Africa, and Solomon Islands, and then education. We have a very, very engaging education program to engage not only the people here in Florida, but around the world. There are two species in here, just so you know. So the bigger ones are the Malayan flying foxes we just saw. The smaller ones are called variable flying foxes. They're also from Southeast Asia. They're also getting hit right now with overhunting and deforestation, but the smaller ones are a little bit more adaptable to human disturbance. So we have 5 babies that were born in here. They are mammals just like us, and they nurse their pups. So the teats aren't out in front like a primate. They're actually underneath the armpits. So I can see over here we have 2 moms and their pups. So the babies are tucked in underneath the mom's armpit area. I should say whenever the babies are born, they're about 10 to 15% of the mom's body weight. So you figure if you have a 150-pound woman, you're talking about 15, 25-pound pup, which is huge. Usually one at a time, although we have had twins. And a lot of people ask, well, why do you have these bats here? Why are you breeding them? What are you going to do with them? Again, most of the bats are going to live here. They're going to live their days here. We do occasionally, rarely loan bats to other zoos, but they have to be AZA accredited zoos like Disney's Animal Kingdom, where we have some of our bats on loan. But we have these bats here because we want people to see them. We want people to be aware of them, to know that these animals exist and want to do something to help them and protect them. You're not going to care about an animal unless you can really see it. We've actually identified 17 different vocalizations that these guys will make, everything from a pup calling its mom, to males calling at other males to stay away, to social calls that they play, and they'll make little grunts whenever they play. They're very social animals. I mean, you could see that they live right next to each other. They're social. These are called little golden mantled flying fox, and they're from the Philippines. Hey you, don't get too startled. That's fully grown. They live here with all the other bats. And at one point, they thought that this was an endangered species, because they just really weren't finding them. Come to find out, they just hide really well. These are the teddy bears, the Ewoks. These are called Rodrigues fruit bats, and at one point this was the most endangered mammal in the world. And there were only about 70 bats left in the whole world. And then in the 90s, there was actually one woman on the island. The island's called Rodrigues Islands, to the east coast of Madagascar, where the dodos were found. She basically got sick of seeing her island being destroyed, just deforestation. And there were 17 endemic species found on that island. 14 are now extinct. Only the bat, this bat right here, and 2 birds are still around. And we're proud to say that for the past, 15, 20 years, we've been funding an educator on that island. Went from 70 bats in the whole world, only found on this one island, to now 20,000 of them. We all hear about poaching and deforestation and overhunting and species declining and going extinct. There are conservation success stories. This is one of them, and we're extremely proud to be a part of that.
The Lubee Bat Conservancy is hosting Bat Fest 2022. The family-friendly event will be held on October 22nd from 10 to 5 in Gainesville, Florida. For tickets and more information, you can go to lubee.org. Stick around. There's more Animal Outtakes after the break. Reducing the impact of humans is a big job. And thankfully, there are people out there who work every day to accomplish this mission. We recently visited the Owl's Nest Sanctuary for Wildlife in Odessa, Florida. It's a nonprofit rehab facility for native Florida wildlife. And it's where a team of volunteers help injured and sick animals find their way back home. In this week's segment, we're going to focus on baby deer.
The deer come, every year we always have fawns, and we have the great setup for it, so it works out perfect.
Now, who do I have here?
You have Delilah.
I have Delilah.
Everybody's got a story. Usually, that one came in 1.25 pounds. She was definitely a twin, which means that she was literally smaller than a dachshund, and I didn't know if she was going to make it, but my history is working small hoof stock at Busch Gardens in the nursery, so we did pull her through.
Oh
Annie.
my goodness, she's
want the bottle?
just going 240 here.
Come here. Come over here. You want the bottle? I know you're hungry.
Yeah.
It's okay. I know. So everybody, hi Delilah. Come here. She's drinking. You got to come to me though. Delilah, what the heck happened?
Well, she got a little messy at the end.
Yeah, I see that. All right, let me see if I can get this little one here. There you go. So you can see she's a lot smaller.
I was going to say, she's the tiniest.
Yeah, this is about the least amount we've ever had. We've not had a good year with people hitting fawns, just things I cannot possibly repair. A lot of car hits, a lot of orphans that are not found till it's too late. So we had 7 last year, though the season is really not over. They stay in here for the first 3 months, 4 months actually. There's nothing that can hurt them, there's nothing that can get to them. And then we do a soft release. People always say, well, these deer are so tame now, how is that possible? Everything has instinct. So even hand-raised animals that deserve love in the beginning, their instinct will take over, especially her. So we soft release, we actually open the gates so they have the whole 6 acres. We know that they tend to go out, they graze, some of them come back. We are blessed to be Lake Francine Park and Lake Dan are right here. So all of this is surrounded here in Odessa is all state park. I've done this most of my life, so it works. I know it works. We actually started at my house. We're only here 3 years in November. So for the first 4 years, we were out of my house. My husband just loved it. We grew so incredibly rapidly, mostly because of the history I had and my knowledge on I can do mammal, reptile, bird. We grew incredibly fast.
Now, we should say that you are closed to the public.
Right, we are closed to the public. My opinion is these are critical care animals. You know, a mass of people standing here, I would not be able to get a bottle in a fawn. So they deserve to have the calm and the aspect that they know us. We have a great routine here. I couldn't do it without my team, honestly, running around all over now 12 counties we cover. So I am nothing without them because they help me get it done.
But an individual like you has got a heart bigger than all outdoors. How do you feel when you see them kind of getting onto their own? I know there's got to be a sense of pride right there.
There is great pride. We've had a lot of great releases. I'm thrilled that they're going. I did my job and it's like, next. So I hate to say that, but I can't let the emotions get the best of me. We know that our goal is to get them back out. Everything according to Florida Fish and Game and federal government. Our goal is to get them back out to the wild.
For much more information about this topic, you can go to Owl's Nest Sanctuary for Wildlife.com. And we will be right back. Outtakes is produced by Dante's Den Foundation, a nonprofit group dedicated to creating the best life for dogs. If you would like to learn more about Dante's Den, donate, or volunteer, visit our website, dantesden.org. We hope you had fun and learned a thing or two along the way. We'll be back here again next week with even more animals and more adventures. Until then, thanks for watching.
This guy had to have a hernia operation, so his little belly shaved. And he's sleeping right now, so we're just gonna leave him alone. Yeah, he could care less that we're here.